Good morning and welcome to your Stylo News Intelligence Update for April 16th, 2026. We begin today in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical maritime choke points.
Our focus is a rapidly escalating situation in the Persian Gulf. As of this month, a tense flashpoint has ignited, with a new U.S. blockade signaling a dangerous new phase in the long-running conflict with Iran. This intelligence update is brought to you by ProWave AI, the developers of Stylo Intel Ops and Stylo News, delivering AI-powered open-source intelligence. So let's get right to it. We'll begin with the single most significant development in the region, one that has altered the strategic landscape. The central question this morning, of course, is what exactly has changed in just the last 24 hours to bring tensions to this new height? Well, the answer came on April 13th. In a decisive and escalatory move, the United States military initiated a full maritime blockade of all Iranian ports. U.S. Central Command is now actively enforcing this blockade, effectively halting all sea traffic moving in and out of Iran. This action not only cuts off Iran's maritime trade, but also poses a direct challenge to Tehran's authority. So, how did we get here? A move like this certainly doesn't happen in a vacuum. To understand it, we really need to examine the key events of the past 2 weeks. You can see from this timeline just how quickly things escalated. It began on April 6th with strikes from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and a threat to close the strait. A very fragile ceasefire followed, but during that time, Iran laid sea mines to assert its control. By April 11th, high-stakes diplomatic talks in Islamabad had completely fallen apart. And then, the very next day, the U.S. Navy directly challenged Iran by sending warships into the strait to begin clearing those mines. Now, to really understand this stalemate, we need to analyze the perspectives of the primary actors involved in this crisis. At its very core, this is a conflict over control. The United States views any restriction on the strait as a strategic threat and is demanding it be fully reopened to guarantee freedom of navigation. On the other side, Iran's IRGC asserts it has sovereign control over the waterway and has warned of severe retaliation. As you can see, these are fundamentally opposed positions. From the White House, the messaging has been quite clear. President Donald Trump has issued ultimatums, directly threatening Iranian infrastructure and adopting a posture of maximum pressure. And Tehran's response has been just as resolute. The IRGC's commander, Brigadier General Sayed Majid Mousavi, has framed this as a new phase of war, signaling that Iran is prepared to meet force with force. Now, a confrontation in such a narrow choke point doesn't happen in isolation. It's already creating immediate and far-reaching consequences across the globe. We can really think of this crisis unfolding on 3 distinct levels. First, the local impact. Maritime traffic is severely disrupted, and the economies of neighboring Gulf states, which rely on oil exports, are facing deep uncertainty. Then there's the national impact for the United States, which sees this as a direct challenge to its longstanding policy of ensuring freedom of navigation. And finally, the international impact. Global oil markets are threatened, which could raise energy prices and create supply chain risks for major importers like India and China. So, all of this brings us to the most crucial point. What are the key indicators we should all be monitoring as this situation develops? We're watching 5 critical areas very closely. First, the enforcement actions by the U.S. Navy. Second, the progress and potential risks of those ongoing mine-clearing operations. Third, Iran's response, whether it's military or diplomatic. Fourth, any new efforts to reestablish channels for de-escalation. And finally, the reaction of global energy markets, which will be a key barometer of international concern. The situation remains incredibly volatile, and it leaves the international community asking whether this is a contained blockade, a dangerous new chapter in brinksmanship, or the prelude to a much broader conflict. This morning, we've provided a snapshot of the current situation. For a more comprehensive analysis of these events, we invite you to go deeper. Our full Stylo News Intel update breaks down the strategic calculus of all parties and explores potential future scenarios. You can listen on your favorite channel or simply follow the link on this post.
Thank you for joining this intelligence update. To stay informed, you can get AI-powered news on demand by subscribing to Stylo News at www.stylonews.com.